Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Thank you everyone that submitted questions for this week's Walking Dead Q&A. Generally, a lot of questions about what's going to be happening with Beth, as well as the other people that showed up in the episode, that end credits scene. I do have some theories about how said person ended up at the hospital. I think it's partially on purpose, but episode 6 is when they're probably going to explain that. So, careful for spoilers from the episode if you're not caught up yet, but here we go. Question number 1. Stalking asked, when it comes to paying back what you owe, how do they determine the value of everything? I think largely Dawn is the one that determines value. It seemed like what they were implying is that the more you're worth, the more you have to pay back. Like Dawn wants to keep people there who are worth a lot. People that serve highly critical functions. That's why the doctor was so quick to try and get rid of that other doctor, so that he would be higher value. As for what Beth owes, I think that's largely determined on the value of the medicine that they gave her. You could call it a little bit of commentary on the healthcare system, in that they gave her very little care, but they're charging her a lot. For people that live in international countries, healthcare in America is extremely expensive. We don't have universal healthcare. That's why some people can go bankrupt from staying in a hospital too long. Even if Dawn is playing it fast and loose with what she's asking people to pay back or telling them what they owe, I do think that she has a system in her head. She seems like a fairly analytical person, even if she's operating on false information, like the false hope that people are going to come rescue her. Question number 2, Vid Leslie asks, did Officer Nasty knock Beth out and take her? Based on what the other girl was saying, it seemed like the police were stealing people, not saving them. Yes, it did seem like he was trying to get his own little harem going. I think they randomly crossed paths, but when he did see her, he thought that she'd make a nice addition, so he just clubbed her and threw her in the back of the car. So yes, I'm firmly coming down on the side of Beth being kidnapped. Question number 3, Extreme Pro asks, why is Carol at the hospital? So there's a couple of theories. So the first one is that she and Daryl followed that car with a cross on it, and she infiltrated the hospital by getting herself hurt. The other theory is that she and Daryl got in a fight with them or other people, and then the police found her and brought her in. As for why Daryl is not there, I think that whatever the fight is that they got in, or whatever their plan was, they tried to get away and Carol was taken. I think it's really a combination of both those things. I think they took off after that car they thought took Beth, got into a really sticky situation, then Carol saw how it was going to go down and just let it happen, thinking that she might be able to find Beth that way. Like they were in a losing situation, and she let Daryl get away just like Beth let Noah get away. I think there'll be some parallels between Beth, Noah, Daryl, and Carol. Question number 4, Ananki asks, do you think that Morgan is the uncle Noah said he's looking for? I think that would be an awfully big coincidence, but it would be really cool. Scott Gimple was really coy about Morgan's storyline this season. It's gonna happen separate from everyone else for at least the most part. Just because so many things feel like they're converging at the hospital for this mid-season finale, I do think that Morgan's gonna come into play, so I do think it'll turn out that he is somehow connected to the Noah character. Just from a storytelling perspective, if you're sitting in the writer's room at Walking Dead and you want people to go as nuts as possible during the mid-season finale, what would you do? First, you'd have a big battle at the hospital, and you bring Morgan back in full-on riot gear with giant weapons. That just feels like something that they'd want to go out on for the mid-season break. Question number 5, Dexter asks, do you think over the course of the season, Beth will start to be more like Crazy Rick and go nuts on everyone in the hospital? So I think there's 2 ways that Beth's storyline could go down. 1, she could toughen up and help herself escape. 2, she could end up dying or sacrificing herself for people at the hospital. Both of those scenarios are heroes' arcs for her character. I think that's what they have her on right now. Like, she's slowly becoming just as valuable as all the other survivors, all the badasses. One of them is pretty straight up badass hero. The other is a tragic hero storyline. So it depends on how tragic you think Beth's character is. I think we won't learn more about what's going to happen with her for a couple more episodes, at least until we follow up with Carol. Of those 2 characters, arguably I'd say Carol is the more tragic one, so I think that Beth would get out in that scenario and Carol would be the one to die. It's a little early to make guesses, so those are just theories right now. No matter what the scenario ends up being, I don't think that she's going to go crazy, like she's not going to bite anyone's neck out. Question number 6, Cynthia asks, Maggie went crazy trying to find Glenn, but she hasn't mentioned Beth once that we know of. What's up with that? Yes, Emily Kinney addressed this on Talking Dead. She said, I get it. She's got her boyfriend that she found, and she's just concentrating on trying to stay alive. I like that the actress that plays Beth is apologizing for Maggie. If they've gone this long without Maggie mentioning Beth, I don't think that it's going to come up anytime soon. I do think it's possible that Abraham's group will have a scene somewhere where Maggie will find something that reminds her of Beth, and then she'll pause and think about it, but it might all be internalized. Question number 7, Mike asks, what if Rick knows the police officers in the hospital? Yeah, so King County was pretty near Atlanta, so it's possible that he knows some of those people. There were some people hypothesizing that this person in this picture here is Officer Lerner. In the fictional history that the show created for her, she's an original character. They didn't say anything about being a sheriff in King County, so I don't think she's directly connected to Rick. I think they will draw some parallels between her character and Rick's character because they're both officers of the law trying to do what they think is right, even though I do think that Officer Lerner is a villain in the hospital. The twist is that she's operating from a very rational place. They need order and rules to survive. They need resources. They need to preserve those. She has a system that she's created. It kind of works. She's trying to maintain it. I think what we need to watch out for is for her to completely snap. During that post-credit scene, she snapped a little bit, but I think that was just a momentary break, or it could be foreshadowing. I think it would be a disservice to make the character go completely nuts. I think if they did that, it would just be another version of the governor. It would just be them recycling old material. It'd be like another Woodbury. Question number 8, Hashu asks, how do they keep finding so much food? Shouldn't it all be expired by now? So they're still working generators, giving power to the city where there are freezers with food in it. I don't really know what kind of generators they have operating around Atlanta, but if they do have a nuclear power plant nearby, then they have power indefinitely. They just have to keep it operational. So in terms of food spoiling, they still have ways to preserve it. And there's the gerbils. The gerbil meat was just a callback to the meat at Terminus, funky meat. Whenever he offered it to Beth and started talking about it, I thought that might be where they're getting all their meat, like they're breeding gerbils for meat. Question number 9, Irvin2 asks, what's going on with AMC and DirecTV? So they're having a carriage deal dispute, and AMC is threatening to take their channels off the air. Most of their channels, not all of them. The same thing happened last year with Dish. For those that don't know, this is really just a United States thing, so international people shouldn't be affected by this. And anyone that does not have DirecTV doesn't have to worry about it either. AMC and DirecTV haven't reached a financial arrangement for renewing their contract. If you do have DirecTV though, I totally feel for you. Don't worry, this will probably be resolved fairly soon. Question number 10, Daily Dose of Me asks, do you think that Noah feels bad about leaving Beth behind? I totally think he'll feel bad. I think whenever they lead the charge to go back and get her, he'll be on that team. From the little we did see of him, he seems like a fairly positive person. He doesn't seem like a coward like Eugene or the doctor. I know a lot of you are asking me about how long he's going to be on the show. He's not a series regular, but I do think it's probably in his contract if they want to make him a series regular later. As far as I know though, he's only going to be in a couple episodes this season. Thank you so much for submitting questions. These are always a ton of fun to do. I think generally we're all just waiting to see what is going to happen with Carol and Beth. Congratulations to this week's giveaway winner, Hunter Murdoch. You win the Amazon gift card. Just contact me on my channel or somewhere on social like Facebook or Twitter for details. Again, next week's episode is going to be all about the DC crew, so be sure to subscribe to get my video. We'll find out what Abraham and his mustache are doing. So in case you haven't seen it yet, you can click here for my episode 4 video, and you can click here for last week's episode 3 video. Thank you so much for watching. So let's all high five, and I'll see you guys tonight.